Hi, I'm standing here with Bob and Sonya Huss and of course their daughter Paulina. And these are our prop masters for Beauty and the Beast. And trust me, there's a lot of props that go into Beauty and the Beast. It's amazing. This show has such complicated pieces. And we knew the best thing for us to do is go to our prop masters who are amazing and have made great props for us in the past, whether it be in Oklahoma or Mary Poppins or gosh, just a lot of shows.
Guys and Dolls,
Guys and Dolls.
Music.
Right. And in fact, we started talking months ago about Beauty and the Beast and what this was going to entail. And right now, I'm going to show you a little bit of behind the scenes of what they were able to create for us for the show that just makes it so very magical. You guys ready?
Yes, let's go.
Let's do this.
The rose is symbolic of the entire story of Beauty and the Beast. When you go through, the beginning of the rose and its blooming and its change over time, and then the rose is pivotal at the end with the transformation of the beast back into the prince. Many people don't know, but on stage you have to be very careful about glass. So we needed to source an acrylic dome to prevent any injury to the actors if something should happen. And then the rose needed to be seen, like you have to see a 1-inch petal from 50 feet away. So we added lights to it, and then in the end, the rose has to fall in stages. So the rose actually has been broken up into pieces, and it's been put together like a puppet. So each station of the rose falling has a separate strand of lights. So when it falls, that strand of lights can turn off. So it's, I don't know, it's kind of like the Muppet Show, but with a rose. We operate it from underneath. There is a station that has 3 different light boxes for the LEDs, turning them on and off. And there are also dowels that come up. So I'm down here underneath this, and the pieces go up, and right now the top of that dowel goes to the top of the dome, and it hits a spot and it Velcros there. And then that way, whoever's controlling the rose at that time can just give it a little bit of a tug, releasing that dowel. And then that was the other thing. We have to slowly watch a petal fall. So that allows them to slowly pull the petal down, giving the audience time to see it. And it had to have its own individual light strand as well so that it would catch their eye when it did fall down. So that's all happening underneath.
So we're with Bob Huss, and he is one of our prop masters, and he created the incredible invention that Belle's father actually creates, and he's going to kind of walk us through that process and how it works and how he created that.
Well, let's see here. First off, it had to be a little bit different than what you see in Disney's production of this, because in that scene, it's a horse-drawn carriage. The machine is quite large. We obviously didn't want to or couldn't do that here. It had to be something smaller. To do this, we had to come up with something different. We decided to go with a wheelbarrow-based type of an idea so that he could maneuver this thing around. The trick was to find, without having to create something, and try to recycle as much as we can and reuse. We found an old potbelly stove, basically. I wanted to give the illusion that the audience could see movement, things happening, linkages changing direction, things going up and down, things spinning. The front half of this device was built to give the armatures that move and making the blade go up and down, and therefore giving the audience the ability to see something in action. And then the other part of it was to give a gear on the outside, being able to spin and giving the illusion that there's gears in there and working and doing all these things. So, and reading the script, there's a piece of it that where Maurice has trouble with the machine. It fails. It doesn't do what he wants it to do, and he's frustrated. And I had to make something that was going to give the illusion of failure, and so he could recover from that. And to do that, I couldn't do it electrically, which is how everything else is driven on this. So we decided to use air instead. So we created a small air tank that we can pressurize and use the cornstarch to give the illusion of steam. And this way it can be used over and over and over again, and it's all self-contained. So it all works as planned. It's a little messy, but it works perfectly. And so far, so good. We had a few other pieces that went along with it, some tools and things that we had to come along with his three-legged dog clencher wrench, which, you know, you can find one of those on eBay, good luck.
Okay, now there were a few props that we actually used throughout the show that you had to hand make to make sure they were actually functional for the show. And I know one of those was going to be the bookseller. And the bookseller prop is really pretty cool. Throughout the opening of Bell, the choice of vision was to have all these sellers have their props way high in the air. So we put everything on large, giant sticks, but obviously you can't hold books that high. So what do we do with that?
All right, so from the front, you have a set of books, all these book spines, but in reality, only one of these books is real, and it is this one. The rest of these, I took an Amazon.com box and I broke it in half, and I attached little pieces of construction paper, and I created spines on the front where I wrapped a piece of cardboard with construction paper as well. Painted the box underneath black to give it some depth, and then glued the whole thing in place. So this is just a bunch of boxes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she can go to the bookseller and get her book. It is Gaston, right? It's got to be huge, it's got to be big, it's got to be manly. But a blunderbuss is very expensive to purchase, so I had to make one. So I found an image online, projected it on a wall, created a template for the stock. Had a friend of mine carve the stock, or not, cut the stock out at his wood shop. From there, I added some foam pieces to the sides to give it more thickness and dimension. Painters caulking to blend in those pieces of foam. This is a PVC tube that got trimmed to fit, and then we attached a horn at the end, the flute. Pulled this off of a kid's toy. This is a handle from a cabinet, and that is a nail with some duct tape around it. And all of it comes together to give the illusion that Gaston has this enormous gun.
Okay, so during the show, there'll be our guest scene, and there's several dinner scenes. So we have the special scene of dinner with Beauty and the Beast during the song. So how did we accomplish food for that?
Okay, the food has to be something that can stay on a shelf for a few months. So I had to make it out of all non-food items. So this is a protein jug wrapped in paper and then painted to look like a roast beef. I cut out pieces of cardboard here to give that slice dimension. These are pantyhose that I stuffed with some cotton fiber I found around the house. These are it was actually some foam rollers that I'd recently thrown away. Pulled them back out of the trash, cut them up, painted them to look like carrots. This is construction paper. I wadded it up so it would get some dimension to it, and then lightly brushed it with paint so you could see that the veins in the leaves. Cut them out, glued it all down on a platter, and it is permanently on the platter. And that way, Beauty and the Beast can have a wonderful centerpiece for their dinner. So the mirror needed to be small enough that it could fit in people's pockets, or it could fit in Belle's handbag, but it needed to be big enough that the audience could see it. And it also needed to light up, which is a lot of challenges. So I took a base mirror, added some layers to it because I needed to be able to hide the light inside of the handle. So that way, when the actor or actress asks to see something in the magic mirror, it will actually light their face up, and giving that illusion that the mirror has come to light magically, but that is actually just hidden here in the handle. And then after that, in order to get this elaborate scroll work around the outside, I took hot glue and just sat there and made a design, and at the end when it painted up, it made this beautiful design around the outside.
So Catalina, what's it like having a mom and dad that make so many amazing props for shows?
I was also using my taking stuff it out, my stuffed animals, to put in the little potatoes on the things, and she also used my play food.
Wow, so you're actually more part of the props than we know, huh? Because it's all your stuff.
I guess.